So thank you so much for joining us today. This is Penn Engineering Online's admissions webinar. And today we are going to be talking about our MSE-DS Online program, which is our newest online program. I believe we had our first cohort for spring of 23. So we're just really excited to be here to explain the program to you and to give you some tips for the application process. We have a great webinar planned for you today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jacquie Panto. I am the Admissions Recruitment Manager at Penn Engineering Online, and I work with potential students, potential applicants, just like yourself. I help to answer those questions during the fact-finding stage. I help with the admissions process and how to understand the admissions process, and hopefully I help you to build a strong application as well. So again, thank you for being here. We have a very special guest with us today. We have Dr. Zack Ives, and Dr. Ives is here to give you his insight and his wealth of knowledge about the MSE-DS program. And he's hopefully going to be able to answer all of your questions and ease any concerns that you have about the program. So we're so thankful that he's able to join us today. And I know you are going to be in for a great treat in hearing what he has to say. So before we get started, I just wanted to go over some brief webinar housekeeping items with you, just so that we kind of have everything straight as we move forward. Did want to let you know that the webinar is being recorded. So there is absolutely no need to take notes. If you miss something, you can go back and rewatch the webinar. We timestamp it so you can go back to a particular point in the webinar that you might have missed, and you can watch it as many times as you want. So no need to take notes. The second thing, I'm sure you're going to have questions. What you want to do if you have questions is please go to the Q&A function on your Zoom toolbar. Type your question out in that Q&A function. We have a few people from our admissions team behind the scenes. We also have a member of our student affairs team behind the scenes. They'll be answering those questions. So they'll be typing questions back, answers back to you. But they'll also save some questions for the end of the webinar. At the end of the webinar, Dr. Ives and myself will be happy to answer questions. So they'll be saving some of those questions for the end, and some questions will get answered during the webinar. So regardless, if you have a question, please type it in the Q&A function, and that's how your questions are going to get answered. I did want to point out one other thing too about the past webinars. They're a great resource for you. We record all of our webinars. I highly recommend that you go to our YouTube channel and take a look at the webinars that we've done in the past. We've had other professors, we've had program directors, our associate dean has done webinars, and we also have current student webinars. So if you want to get an idea about our programs from current students, from their perspective, there's webinars there featuring current students as well as alumni. So an absolutely wonderful resource to learn about our programs is taking a look at past webinars as well. So I just wanted to point that out. So I think we're all set. I am going to turn it over to you, Dr. Ives. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it. It's all yours.
Thank you, Jackie. And I'm really delighted to be able to join here and get a chance to meet prospective students for this program. MSE-DS is a really, really exciting initiative. And I've been involved in a variety of aspects, both in terms of the original Penn initiatives that led to this, as well as some of the core courses. So I'm excited to talk about all of those different aspects. As a kind of brief introduction, I'm the chair of the Computer and Information Science Department here at Penn. We operate a number of degrees, and we're kind of the lead department in MSE-DS, both on campus, which has been the model for the online program, and then additionally online. In terms of my involvement in curricula at Penn, actually, I've now been here since 2003, and I've been involved in the creation of several different degree programs through time and built 5 different courses that have become part of our curriculum. I would like to think a lot of those lessons learned have translated into both the way that the degree program has been shaped here in terms of MSE-DS, but also some of the core courses. I teach CIS 5450, which is called Big Data Analytics. This is a course that we initially developed on campus to meet the interests of folks from many different disciplines. and we've translated it into an online version aimed specifically at those of you who are interested in data science. The course really takes students kind of on a journey through the initial tasks of getting raw data, for instance, from the web, from different sources, from sensors, from devices, putting all the data together, cleaning it, understanding it, structuring it, potentially at really big scales, and then to applying machine learning and visualization techniques. So you really get kind of the whole picture of how the data science process or pipeline actually works through one semester. And it ties together many different themes and topics and really serves as kind of an anchor to a lot of the different lessons that you'll be learning through the MSE-DS program. I thought I might note this is now the most popular course in engineering here on campus, and I think it's shaping up to be one of the most popular courses also in our online curriculum. So that's a little bit about my involvement in the curriculum and the courses. I should also note, as with most faculty here at Penn, I also spend a significant part of my time doing research with PhD students. And in particular, I work on tools that bring AI and machine learning techniques to tackle problems around data, especially trying to enable scientific discovery and also management of data on the web. As I said, I've been here at Penn since 2003, but along the way, I've also spent a year at Google, and I've consulted with several different data science health startups. So hopefully those different kinds of lessons will show up in different ways through the curriculum. So with that, let's talk a little bit about MSE-DS Online. I've tried to give a little bit of a framing of some of the main themes of data science. It's really a discipline that's at the intersection of several different kinds of expertise. We've got kind of the generalist data engineering expertise in tools, platforms, programming, handling data at scale, representing data, and so on. We've got statistical techniques for really determining what's significant and how to make predictions. And then we've got expertise in different problem areas. And as you go through the degree program, you are especially going to be learning not only the basic techniques and the statistical foundations, but also, in a sense, how to talk to folks who have different kinds of expertise. That is really one of the main tasks of data scientists. And increasingly, folks also use the term data engineer for this area. When you think about the general techniques, they're starting from kind of acquiring and integrating data to cleaning, understanding it, making discoveries, and also building AI tools and effective models over the data. And you'll learn a bit about all of those aspects. And as we see when we see the curriculum, there are courses that target specific aspects of that overall process. We've been operating the on-campus master's program now since 2017. We were one of the earlier engineering schools to move into this space. And since then, we've learned a lot of lessons about the most important aspects to cover. And those have all been brought into the MSE-DS Online program. One of the things that we're really excited about with the online program is that we can reach a much broader audience and still go into a lot of detail and give you the full depth of addressing data science problems in a more asynchronous format. So a few highlights of the Penn Online degrees in general, especially MSE-DS. One of them is we put a lot of emphasis into having our top faculty involved in the creation and the operation of the courses. So you will be studying under world-renowned faculty who are leaders in different research areas and in computer science and data science. In addition, many of our faculty have also won university-level teaching awards. So we put a lot of our effort and a lot of our heart into giving you the best education possible. The format is extremely flexible to meet your different requirements. So the courses consist largely of asynchronous materials. You've got online video, you've got a variety of different kinds of forums. But in addition, we also offer ways of talking live with both the instructors and the staff so that you get the best of both worlds, and you can do this to meet whatever your busy schedule might be. And of course, along with that, you can mix and match different courses, different curricula, and schedule your particular assignments around whatever it is that you need to do in kind of your daily life as you're going along. So you've got a lot of flexibility and a lot of options to tailor the educational experience to whatever complements your needs. And to give you a little bit of a sense of what MSE-DS actually looks like, we have 3 general tiers to the program. There are a set of core courses, then a set of technical electives that go into more depth, and then a set of open electives that give you the option to study broadly across data science and its connections to other topics. So if we start with the core courses on the left, what you've got out of the 4 is essentially 2 courses that start with data first. There's the database course, CIS 5500, which is really about capturing, modeling, updating, cleaning data, and building ways of accessing it. And then kind of complement to it is CIS 5450. This is my course that I talked about earlier, which really gives you this journey from data wherever it might lie, perhaps outside of a database, to bringing it into your systems for processing, to integrating it, and then building machine learning models on it. In addition to these 2 data first courses, we have 2 kind of methodology centric courses. There is a machine learning course, ESE 5410, which is really about taking the basic tools, algorithms, and techniques of machine learning and applying them over the data. In many ways, this is looking at some of the same problems as the big data course, but from a flip side, really starting with the algorithms, the notion of correctness, what properties you have, and so on. And then to complement that, we have ESE 5420, which is about the statistical foundations underneath the machine learning techniques. Or alternatively, you can take CIS 5150, which is about kind of optimization and linear algebra. And these are the foundational mathematical principles that allow us to reason about what we're actually getting when a machine learning model is built. So from that solid core, you can specialize and diversify in a lot of different areas. Of course, one of the most exciting aspects of this field is its connections to AI, which of course can be applied in any of the data science domains. So many of our technical electives focus on kind of AI as a whole, that's 5210, to natural language processing. I'm sure you've all heard about large language models and GPT and the like. Of course, underlying a lot of these things are concepts from deep learning. So we have ESE 5460, which talks about the principles and foundations for deep learning. And then beyond the kind of traditional AI courses, there's a question of, if you're building applications that have to deal with data, how do we make sure that the data is actually kept private and secure? So there's a course on computer security. How do I take my data and handle it at the scale of millions of users across the internet? That's what the Internet and Web Systems course focuses on. How do I build distributed databases that share data in a decentralized way? That's fundamentally what blockchains are about. And of course, to really understand blockchains, you have to also understand something about cryptography and smart contracts. So CIT 5820 talks about all of those things. And then finally, one of the other areas of AI that's increasingly exciting is looking at images and video. And so CIS 5810, the computer vision course, talks about all of these topics. We're not done with that basic set of offerings. There are also several new courses that are under development. So tentatively, we have slated in the near future a course on applying data science to health domains, another looking at the ethical issues of data science, AI, and so on. So you've probably heard about the kinds of concerns that people raise about fairness, about ensuring privacy while learning at scale, and so on. You'll learn about all of these topics and more in the engineering ethics course. And then finally, as we're trying to tell stories around data, it's not enough to just build AI techniques and present tables. Sometimes you actually have to visualize the results. And so we're working on a course specifically to visualize data. In addition to all of these technical electives, there are two options in your degree program, which either could still be applied to some of these technical elective courses, but could also be applied more broadly to topics of interest to you in computer science and beyond. So in the open electives, we have options where you could take from any of the columns to the left, in other words, the technical electives or core courses areas, or look at topics such as software analysis and correctness, or wireless networks and cell phone and Wi-Fi, or computer network systems, computer systems programming, algorithms, and cloud technologies. And finally, we are working on a course that will let you take your data science knowledge and will team you up with folks who have real data science challenges. And through the practicum, you will work on solving these things, gaining experience and knowledge in a very pragmatic way. Finally, it's worth giving a little bit of a hint on how our courses work and what the experience is like. So probably the main method for learning technical content will be on-demand lecture videos. We generally have a couple hours a week worth of lessons broken up into individual units. And you can watch these kind of as your schedule permits. There are no required real-time sessions, although we do try to make sure that real human beings are available for chat and feedback and help whenever you get stuck. There are also asynchronous discussion forums. The homeworks tend to be scheduled with bi-weekly deadlines, and there are often quizzes and other sorts of activities that are weekly. And I want to emphasize that every course has a really outstanding teaching team, including teaching assistants who are available for many hours throughout both the weekdays and weekends to schedule around whatever your constraints might be. So you really get both the full experience and benefits of in-person teaching as we would do it on campus with a much more flexible asynchronous set of delivery mechanisms, as is state-of-the-art in online education.
Great.
Great. So Jacquie,
Yeah.
hand off to you.
Absolutely. I will pick it up from here. So I think that just gives such a wonderful overview of what our MSE-DS online program is all about. I just want to take some time now to kind of switch gears and talk a little bit about the application process, who qualifies to apply for the program, and then we'll kind of get into the application, tuition, and all that good stuff. So who qualifies for the MSE-DS online program? The way I kind of like to identify this is there's three main areas that you could be qualified in order to apply. One is very easy. You have an undergraduate degree in computer science, and you really want to take a deep dive into data science. As long as you have an undergraduate degree in computer science, absolutely, this is a program that you should look at. This is a program that you can apply to. There's also folks out there that maybe have a minor in computer science, or their undergraduate degree was in, whatever their undergraduate degree is, but maybe they took up to 4 courses in computer science. If you have at least 4 credit computer science courses on your transcript, then yes, this is definitely a program that you could look into and apply to. We give some examples on the screen of the types of programs that you could have on your transcript, but really any 4, basic computer science courses would definitely work and would definitely give you the background for this program. The last criteria, and again, you only need to meet one of these, but the last criteria has to do with those folks who perhaps have a highly quantitative undergraduate degree. They have a math degree, a physics degree, a statistics degree. So they already have that quantitative knowledge and capabilities, in their repertoire. And they also have 2 years of work experience as a data scientist, a software engineer, or some other field that involves that quantitative work or that coding experience. So the combination, of of the math degree or the highly quantitative degree, along with the work experience in the field, could also make you a great candidate for this program as well. So really hitting one of those three areas would be the best way and you'd be the best candidate for applying to this program. So make sure you kind of fit into one of those three areas before you apply. The next topic, I just want to talk about the application process. We have a fairly a turnkey, easy application process. What you're going to need to do in order to submit your application, we'll need an updated resume. We'll need a personal statement. We'll need official college transcripts for every school that you've attended, every course that you've taken at a college, and then a $90 application fee. Those are the application ingredients, so to speak, that you need to submit your application. Once you submit your application, in the application, you're going to have to give contact information for recommenders. You will need at least 2 recommenders, but those letters of recommendation can be uploaded and can be provided after you actually submit your application. The recommender will upload them automatically, and it'll automatically get attached to your application. Some individuals think they actually have to have the letters of recommendation on hand before they can apply, and that's not the case. As long as we receive everything by deadline, by application deadline, there's no problem. So the top 4 items need to be complete in order to submit the application. Letters of recommendation can come in just prior to the deadline. If you decide to take the GRE, again, that can get uploaded anytime before the deadline, or if you need the TOEFL. So there's just a couple of things that I wanted to go over and to kind of point out in terms of tips for the application elements. The first thing is the personal statement. The personal statement in the application, we give a list of maybe 5 or 6 questions. It's really important for you to answer those questions in the personal statement. We don't do interviews. We don't interview our applicants. So please look at the personal statement as almost as an interview. So we want you to answer those questions. It's important that within the statement, you're answering all questions. So that's definitely a good tip for the personal statement. With regard to the college transcripts, like I mentioned, we do need all college transcripts. So if you started out at a community college and then you transferred to another college or university, we're going to need the community college transcript as well. Or if you started out at one college or university and transferred to another, whatever courses you've taken, we need the college transcripts for all universities and colleges that you've attended. That's extremely important. The other thing I always like to point out about transcripts has to do with anybody that has taken, has attended a college outside of the United States. It's important that those transcripts are in English. They need to be translated. And any school that you've attended that's not within the 4.0 grading scale, please be sure to include the explanation of the grading scale so that they can properly be viewed, properly be reviewed, properly be evaluated. So all college transcripts, and if it's not in the 4.0 scale, please be sure to include the grading scale and the explanation for that grading scale. Letters of recommendation, like I mentioned, we only require to receive 2 letters of recommendation. I strongly urge that you seek 3. The reason why, that's the element that is most out of your control. All you're going to do is provide the contact information. And of course, you should be giving your recommenders a head up and emailing them or calling them and make sure it's okay for you to use them as a recommender so they'll know it's coming. But then it's out of your control. They have to have the recommendation letter in by deadline. But it's out of your control. You don't know if they will or if they won't, or if they're going to be late or going to be on time. So by seeking out 3 recommenders, it does provide you with a little bit of a safety net so that if one of your recommenders are late, hopefully 2 will get them in on time. So I always urge, if you have 3 good ones to seek, please seek out the 3 recommenders. In terms of choosing your recommenders, it's not so much their title that's important. It's how well they know you. And you want to choose individuals They don't have to be academic recommendations. They can be professional recommendations. A good majority of what we receive are professional recommendations because so many of our students are working professionals. So if you've graduated 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it may be impossible for you to seek out a academic recommendation. They may not remember who you are. So professional recommendations are absolutely allowed, and that's what we're looking for. But when you're seeking a professional recommendation, it should be somebody that oversees your work. Doesn't necessarily have to be your direct supervisor, but it should be somebody that oversees your project, oversees your work. That's above you on the organizational chart, so to speak. So you're looking for those that are overseeing your work. You do not want to select or choose coworkers or friends or family members. So people that really oversee your projects and your work. If you're self-employed, we get those questions. They say, I'm self-employed. I don't have a boss. I don't really have, anybody that's above me to provide a recommendation. You can certainly go to past employers, but you can certainly do your customers or your clients. They're definitely overseeing your work. So if you have a client that could recommend you, that could also work as well. So hopefully that kind of covers the who. It's not necessarily the title. Sometimes we get applicants that say, oh, I got the CEO to write me a letter of recommendation. But if the CEO doesn't know you or know your work or know the projects that you worked on, they're not going to be able to tell the why and why you would be a great applicant or a great student for this program. So you want to think and choose wisely on who your recommender should be. Okay. The other thing, the GRE, I mentioned that is optional. If for some reason you feel that maybe some of your grades and perhaps your quantitative grades on your transcript are a little lower than you would have liked, or the GRE is a great option to show strong quantitative ability. So if you feel you need it, you certainly can submit a GRE. It is not required. We don't look at applications differently if they don't have a GRE. The GRE is a tool to help strengthen your application if you feel that you need to. So it is optional. And then the TOEFL, that is definitely something that's needed for our applicants where English is not their primary language, or if they haven't been to a university or graduated and have a degree from a university that was taught in English, then you would definitely need to supply the TOEFL score. That is definitely required. If English is not your primary language, you're not a U.S. citizen or U.S. permanent resident, or didn't graduate from a college or university where the medium instruction was in English. So TOEFL would be required in those instances. So once you submit your application, the really nice thing about our application process is that there is a status page. There's always a checklist. So you can always go into your application portal once you submit, and you can see, did my recommender submit? Was my GRE score uploaded if you are submitting a GRE score? Or if you need to provide a TOEFL, was my TOEFL score uploaded? You can see all of your elements. You can see what's missing. You can see when we receive them. So you're constantly in touch with all of those missing elements. And you're welcome to email us if you have any questions, but it's definitely a way to see when your documentation comes in. And then as you're approaching deadline, if it's getting close to that October 3rd date and your recommenders still don't have the recommendation letters in, yes, by all means, you want to contact them and let them know that deadline's coming up and we need to receive those letters of recommendation. So the application status page is a great element when you're a great resource when you're in the application process. So just quickly for our application dates and deadlines, you can see there on the screen, our next deadline is October 3rd. So all materials would need to be in by October 3rd. So that means all your recommendations, your test scores, everything need to be in by October 3rd. All decisions will be returned on November 10th. We send them out all on the same day. So usually in the afternoon on the 10th is when our emails go out about decisions. And then deposits and confirmation would be due on December 1st, and our onboarding course starts on December 4th. So that just gives you a little bit of a time frame for what's to come. Hopefully I answered questions about the application, and and the dates and deadlines. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time next. I think it's, tuition. So tuition, obviously, extremely important part of any decision, master's program decision. Our tuition is $3,300 per course unit. As Dr. Ives mentioned, there are 10 course units in the MSE-DS online program. So you're looking at roughly $33,300 for the tuition. And there is a fee. It's $150 per course unit. So that would be an additional $1,500. So right now, the current tuition is in right under $35,000 for the program. And the tuition schedules, how you pay your tuition, that's going to vary by the amount of courses you take per semester. So if you take one course, you're paying for one course in that semester. So I always try to tell applicants and newly accepted students, if you're looking to spread out those finances, then you can take one course a semester and you can spread your finances out over the 5 years. We allow 5 years to complete the program, and that would be taking one course a semester, one course in the fall, one course in the spring. You don't have to take courses in the summer. You're able to. We run plenty of courses in the summer. So if you wanted to speed up the process or stay ahead of the game, so to speak, you're welcome to take a course in the summer. You don't have to. So by taking one course in the fall, one course in the spring, that would be 5 years to complete the program, and then you're able to spread out your finances over 5 years. We do offer payment plans. That's all discussed on our tuition page on our website as well. And just remember, these, again, this is current tuition as of today. Tuition can change, year to year. So you might have now gone through this and you've heard Dr. Ives speak, and you've heard me talk about the criteria for applying, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, maybe this program isn't for me. I don't have the computer science courses, or I don't have that, strong math undergraduate degree. Now what? So we do have another program. It's our MCIT online program, and it's basically a computer science program for non-computer science majors. So it is a pretty unique program. And this might be the program that would be better for you. So if you have no computer science background or very little, then I strongly would urge you to look into the MCIT online program. And again, no computer science is needed. You do need to be able to show proof of quantitative aptitude. So some math courses in your college career, or maybe you've taken the GRE. But again, it's really designed for folks who have very limited computer science experience. Very similar to MSE-DS, it is 10 courses, 6 core courses, 4 electives. And one of the great options with the MCIT online program is we do offer a dual degree where you can graduate from the MCIT program, and through our dual degree program, you can then transition into the MSE-DS online program, and you can bring 4 courses from MCIT with you. So it would only leave you 6 more courses for that second degree. So you complete the MCIT program. In your final semester of MCIT, you apply for the dual degree program. Okay, you need a 3.5 GPA. And it's a very abbreviated application. You won't go through the full application like you're going through now. And then when accepted, after you graduate from MCIT, you can matriculate into MSE-DS. And again, like I said, 4 courses from MCIT. You have the potential of bringing those 4 courses in to MSE-DS Online. It only leaves you 6 more courses for that second degree. So it is a great option. And I just wanted to point it out here. If that's something you're interested in, it's a good idea to let your advisor know from the beginning, so they keep you on track for that. And they kind of help you along the way. So those are definitely great options as well. So what I wanted to do now, I think we're in a great spot to kind of open it up for some questions. And I know we've seen a couple come through here. So let me just take a look here, and we will get started with some questions. So here's one for you, Dr. Ives. First question that came in, it says, how does your program compare to other top data science programs? And they mentioned Stanford and Carnegie Mellon. And what are some of your benefits compared to those programs other than the online offering?
So that's a great question. I would say in general, many of the online data science programs that have come out of computer science actually have a lot of similarities. And I think that in particular, that's the case for both of them. I think one of the things that makes our program unique is really this kind of connection across the Penn campus, which will allow us to launch programs and things like, or courses and things like health. Our program in particular, I think, has a couple of unique courses like the Big Data Analytics course, which tie together some of the curricula that in many other degree programs are in different and disparate courses. And again, I think that, we offer a lot of hands-on interaction with the faculty who actually created the courses, who also teach our on-campus courses. So I would say really, in many ways, the differentiators are going to be how we came about creating the degree program as much as the kind of the core curriculum.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that I sometimes do in the admission process is I also let people know too that the data science programs can be offered from many different schools. So there's data science programs, say in a business school, and ours is offered in the engineering school. So there's definitely differences that way too. And it depends what your end goal is. And you kind of need to research that as to where the data science program is coming from, because that'll be some differentiating factors as well, I would think, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's another good thing to take a look at as well. Then we had a question about what career can a graduate from the MSE-DS Online hope to expect? So what would be some of the degree careers?
I mean, actually, there's a wealth of different careers depending on kind of what you're especially interested in. If you look at kind of major tech players, almost all of them have substantial data science teams of some form. Many of our graduates go off to those sorts of companies. There's this really exciting, still growing and emerging set of initiatives, companies, and technologies, all in the kind of data science meets life science tech, mRNA vaccines and pharmaceuticals and so on. So actually there's a very interesting path there where you can have direct benefits on, people's health. FinTech, again, is a big area of investment in data science. I know folks at, for instance, Vanguard and Jane Street and so on who come through our data science programs. And then there's a whole slew of smaller companies, startups, and mid-sized companies. And then, of course, in addition to that, there's research labs and universities that very much are looking at, building substantial groups and teams with many different complementary skill sets in the data science space. So I think that, it's very much anywhere where there's kind of software and tech meets the real world, there's an opportunity for data science, and a lot of those are really growth areas.
Yep, absolutely. Then we have another question that talks a little bit about the course experience. It says, are there collaborative projects, group projects within the courses?
So, of course, this will depend a little on the particular course and the instructor, but yes, most of our kind of data-centric courses do have often an open-ended project that can be collaborative, and in some cases, some of the other homework assignments are also collaborative. So what I recall is the AI course, the big data course, the database course, and a number of others have this kind of flavor.
Yep, absolutely. And then we have a question about how students connect with other students. They're basically saying how can I connect with other students with projects or help or any other type of questions.
I think there are a lot of different ways, but probably the two main things that we see are, through the various discussion forums, Ed discussion, Slack, whatever, folks often will find teammates, will find connections, will find study groups based on that. But also, it's quite common that people have interactions either during drop-in Zoom open office hours or TA office hours or what have you. And then there are plenty of mechanisms where if you don't know anyone, the instructional staff will also team you up. So I think, the best of cases, it just sort of organically happens through these different kinds of conversations. And, in all cases, we'll find a way to set up teams. And I think that, when we talk to our students, these experiences are really good. And, we try to also find ways that people come from complementary backgrounds. Then you end up learning a lot from your project team as much as, and vice versa, as much as from the instructional staff.
Yeah, for sure. I can speak on this all day long in terms of our community, because I think our community is so strong and so helpful. And one of the things that comes out, I mentioned about going back and looking at past webinars, are the theme and the common thread that comes out in all of our current student webinars has to do with the connections that they're able to make and the community. I mean, this is an online program, and we all know, I mean, it's no secret, online programs can typically be isolating. And I really think what the Penn community works hard at doing is to make sure that students have the resources they need so that it is not isolating. And we do our best to make sure every single student has those resources. So from our Slack channels, our student Slack channels, and our students talk all about that and how they're able to connect virtually through the Slack channels. But even as they travel, like a lot of our students will be traveling, say, to wherever, a city, San Francisco, let's say, and they'll go into that Slack channel and say, hey, anybody from San Francisco, I'm coming in. And they're actually meeting up. I mean, they're meeting up, in person as well. And just there's just a general overall sense of community, people willing to help each other, whether it's current students, whether it's professors, whether it's TAs. I just think we really do have, such a strong sense of community. And I think it's a big point of difference as well. Like you said, lots of ways to connect.
Just to add to that, kind of from what I've observed firsthand. So MSE-DS is essentially brand new, so we're not quite there yet, but our prior online programs, one of the most gratifying aspects of the experience from the faculty side is we have an in-person commencement on campus and an in-person get-together of the graduates. And it's just such fun to see, many people are meeting face-to-face for the first time, but they know each other really, really well from going through multiple courses over multiple semesters and years together. And it's really an amazing experience. And I think that, this is one of the things that really differentiates our experience from many of the other online programs that are not quite as close-knit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, you took the words right out of my mouth. I did not have the opportunity to be at graduation this year, but I was there last year in 2022. And I had only been working at Penn for a short time. And when I saw the recent graduates come into the reception that we had, I couldn't believe that these students were meeting each other for the first time. I mean, they had looked like they knew each other in person for years, and here they literally were meeting for the first time, and you never would have known it. It was just such a sense of just camaraderie in the room. It was really, it really did blow me away. I was shocked, really shocked. It was amazing. So, and I say that they're meeting each other for the first time, but you never would have known it. So you took the words right out of my mouth as well. Very impressive. Okay, so I know we have a couple other questions here. It says, hi, how current are the teaching materials? Oftentimes universities have slides and references dating back 5 or 10 years. How is this at Penn?
So it's a great question. And let me just say that it's a real point of pride to us that we continue to be involved in keeping the curriculum refreshed. I will say For my course, I think I replace 3 or 4 video modules every year. So, there's always an effort to keep the tools current, the topics current, the curriculum current. The homework assignments are changed, the questions are changed, the topics are relevant to today, not to 5 years ago. And I think that actually makes a big difference in just how exciting and relevant and engaging all of the material is.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's amazing, all of the, we have a course management team and a course development team, all the work that the professors put into it. We have a studio team, and there's just so many factors that help to make our courses up to date and current and professional and all of the above. There's so much that goes into it. We really do stay on top of that. So for sure. Plus our programs are, MSE-DS Online is a newer program. And it certainly is built off of the success of our on-campus program for sure. But a lot of work goes in on turning these programs into online programs and making sure that the end user is always in mind, and making sure that our videos and our course content and everything is geared towards that online user or end user. And that's an important factor as well. The other questions that we have are, what are ways I can get help with course materials from professors or teaching assistants?
So, generally speaking, we have, a combination of different tools and technologies for helping with this. So for a lot of the homeworks and the projects and such, the tools that we use allow screen sharing or notebook sharing or various other things, so that if you end up having a conversation over Zoom with a faculty member or with a TA, you can actually get direct feedback and help on whatever you're looking at. So we offer quite a few both open and one-on-one office hours, depending on what makes sense for the whole class to see and what makes sense, for instance, solving a particular bug or something like that. We have various discussion forums and the ability to do both private and group messaging. And I think that all of us take pride in also being available in, irregular, as needed sorts of meetings and office hours and the like. So, I think that we've really been able to offer that personal interaction to the extent that students find it useful. And again, that's, I think, a point of pride of this program. You're not just one, faceless number in the course. You are a person who we want to get to know and actually interact with and help through the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree, it is definitely a pride point for sure. And I also think we do a great job, because we are an online program. I think there's something like 44 countries that are represented, many different time zones, and that is all top of mind with everything that we do, making sure we're cognizant of time zones and where our students are coming from, and making sure that they're being accommodated to with hours and when exams are and whatnot. I think we do a really good job with that as well. So for sure. All right, let's see. We probably have enough time for another question or two. Is there anything you would recommend to prepare a new student for the start of class?
I think in general, I would say that we try to be very clear about kind of the prerequisites, and kind of beyond that, it should be possible to dive right into the class and get started at kind of the same pace that everybody else is started at. If you haven't kind of on a day-to-day basis been doing, let's say Python programming and stuff like that, it's, could be useful to do a little bit of the kind of exercises that you can find in some of these web forums. There's one called Towards Data Science that's quite popular and quite interesting for just reading about things that are going on. Sometimes there are exercises that you can work through. But I think by and large, it's not really essential to put a lot of time into prep beforehand. I think that we do a good job of ramping everybody up from kind of the basic level of expectations, establishing the prerequisites to what they need to do through the semester.
Yeah, definitely. And I think anything that's you know, from a non-coursework standpoint, we do a great job with our orientation course on at least getting people up to speed on what to expect and where to find things and the resources that they have, and just on how to get through the program from that standpoint, and who their advisor is and how to register for classes. And so try to get all of that nitty-gritty stuff out of the way during our orientation course. I do think that that helps then to allow, you know, any of the time that the student needs to focus on, you know, curriculum and projects and whatnot. So we kind of get that out of the way. Once you become a student, about a month before courses start, there's an orientation course where we kind of get all of that nitty-gritty stuff out of the way too, which is helpful. And again, I can't say it enough how just overall the community is very helpful, just in general throughout the program, for sure. So, okay, I think just let me just make sure we've covered most of the questions that are on here. So we have this is actually a good question. We probably will end this. How does the curriculum compare to the on-campus courses?
So I think that in general, if you look at the course numbers that are in the online curriculum, there's basically exact corresponding course that exists on campus and vice versa. They're very closely synchronized. Effectively, they're, you know, as much the same as any two offerings of the same course on campus. You know, really, in a sense, the main thing about the on-campus program is that it is on campus, and, you know, the various aspects of being in person and having the entire university in person are probably the differentiator. But in exchange, the online program has the flexibility, and you don't have to move to Philadelphia and so on. So I think each has its benefits, but the quality of the experience, I think, is very much synchronized.
Yep, completely agree with that. Absolutely. Okay, so we are gonna just try to wrap things up here and give you some information on what happens after the webinar. So I just have one more slide to go over with you. So let's say it's tomorrow, it's Wednesday, and all of a sudden you find you have another 5 questions that you didn't ask us today. What do? So we have an excellent FAQ database. I strongly urge, if you haven't nosy through our website, which I'm sure you all have, but take a deep dive into it. There's lots of great information. Go to our FAQ database. There's so many questions and answers in there. I feel pretty confident that you can find almost anything in that database. The other thing, we love to meet with you. The admissions team has office hours almost every day of the week, right prior to deadline. So before that October 3rd deadline, we even have Saturday hours. So we'll have a few Saturdays where we can meet with you, but we love meeting with our applicants and putting a face to the name. So please sign up for office hours. They're 15-minute private meetings, and we're happy to answer your questions there and kind of help you through the admissions and the application process through office hours. The other thing that you can do, you can always email us. We have our email addresses there on the screen. We do our best to answer all emails within 24 hours. There's typically 3 of us, if not more, in our inbox all at the same time, just getting things answered and making sure that we are being timely and getting back to you. So emailing us is always a great idea. If you're not, if you haven't joined our mailing list, I definitely urge that you do that. We do a great job communicating. We want to make sure that we're keeping you up to date on different events, on any, if there's a deadline change or anything at all that's going on. We want to make sure that you are first to hear of it. So make sure you join our mailing list so that we can keep you in the loop on anything that's happening at Penn Engineering Online and through the application process. So I also just wanted to point out a few things that are a few events that are coming up. In addition to the office hours, we do have on September 7th, we are having a virtual open house. We will have 8, not 5. We will have 8 virtual meeting rooms that you can attend. It'll be anything from course management, course development. We'll have a representative from our MSE-DS Online program and advising questions that you can ask in there, or student experience questions. We'll have somebody in a meeting room that can talk about if you want to be a TA and how to get involved in becoming a TA, or our TLP program. We also have academic coaches. So just different ways that you can get involved. You can go into that meeting room. Of course, there'll be an admissions and applications meeting room. So 8 different meeting rooms, and you can jump from, this is all virtual, and you can jump from meeting to meeting room, ask your questions, and just find out lots of information that day. So that is September 7th. I believe it's 11 o'clock in the morning. If you go to our website and go to events, you'll be able to register for that event. And we're also going to have a ton of coffee chats in September. If you don't see them on the events calendar now, you soon will. Coffee chats are a great way to get your questions answered. What I love most about coffee chats, you get to hear what other people are asking. So even if you don't have specific questions, come to a coffee chat and hear what other applicants are asking. Sometimes you forget and you think, wow, that's a great question. I didn't even think of that. So I always urge everyone to attend at least one coffee chat in the application cycle so that you can hear what other folks are asking as well. So I think that we've got you pretty well up to date. We've given you a ton of information. So I hopefully that you're all ready to either finish up your applications or start your applications, but I'm hoping we were able to answer all your questions and ease your concerns. So Dr. Ives, thank you so much for being with us today. You were great, and we appreciate you spending time with us today. So thank you.
Thank you. It was absolutely my pleasure, and I'm really excited to hopefully see many of you next year. Take care.
Awesome. Everybody have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.